a natural approach to healing with our new co-hosts, Dr. Leslie Kasanoff and Angie Ates. This is episode 147 on Alternative Health Tools Podcast, and I'm John Beathan, the producer and sometimes host for the show. As one of the co-hosts of this show, Kim Shea has taken leave to pay more attention to her business, Aging Purposefully, and her own podcast, Pivot and Thrive. She can continue to be reached from links in the show notes, and I want to mention she's a very gifted host and listens really well and never ever gets in the way of the guest. We wish her the best and thank her for bringing on really great guests and hosting them so well. We have two new co-hosts, and I'd like to introduce them to you today. Dr. Leslie Kasanoff and Angie Ates will be co-hosting from this side of the pond. So listen in and find out the slight course correction we're making for 2022. Hey everyone, my name is John Beathan. I'm the producer at Alternative Health Tools. And today we're talking to two new co-hosts. And it's Leslie Kasanoff, who I met through Mary Kravitz's fabulous networking group called WatchUsThrive.com. And if you work at a professional level and want to meet some really great people, mostly women, then go to WatchUsThrive.com. And then also Angie, I met, I think through, I'm not sure what network that was. Do you remember, Angie?
No, actually.
Angie Ates and Angie Ates. I don't remember where we met each other, but we had a call and it was fabulous. And then I got this wild idea because Kim Shea, who's been co-hosting along with Lisa Victoria in the UK, had to leave the show because she has her own business called Aging Purposefully, and she has her own podcast called Pivot and Thrive, and she just needed to spend more attention with her own business. And I got this wild idea. What if I threw Leslie and Angie together? I think we might get into some good trouble here. So today I want to give them both an opportunity to introduce themselves briefly, and then we're going to have a little discussion because we're going to change our tagline a little bit, and we're also going to ask you to consider in the next week or so what changes you would like to see in Alternative Health Tools that is totally surrounded serving you. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yay, Angie.
So my name is Angie Ates, and I work with natural health practitioners. So taking everything you have, aligning it into something genius to allow you to shine on the world. And it's all about profitability. It's about really awesome wellness plans and really getting the mentorship you need. So that is what I lead.
Yeah, and that's fabulous to have you co-hosting because there's so many young healthcare practitioners coming out of school and really need some help and direction and support because honestly, they probably never got trained or went to school to learn to run a business and become profitable. So, yeah.
Absolutely not. They have not learned that. And reality is some of them are even challenged with really creating a comprehensive wellness plan, right? It's a pill for an ill versus truly a comprehensive expansion. So, yep.
Nice. All right, Leslie. You ready?
Sure. I'm Dr. Leslie Kasanoff, and I'm originally trained as a chiropractor, but I've now moved into health coaching and consulting, working mostly with women who want to resolve their health issues naturally and don't want to go down the drug avenue.
Yeah, or went down the drug avenue and got whacked out and or found out it didn't really work so well for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it needs to be said that most of the guests we have on the podcast actually are mostly women, actually, but men too, that actually had some sort of health issue and went down the Western path and it just didn't, for whatever reason, didn't work for them. And they found an alternative way and ended up actually going to school and teaching it and helping other people. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So
very, very common in the field. Yep.
So one thing I wanted to talk about that Leslie brought up, which is great, is that, we basically say we discover and share new alternative health tools and resources from alternative healthcare practitioners and experts. But I think you both want to change it up a little bit and add another word. What's that word? Leslie, in the conversation?
Well, that word would be philosophy. And the thinking behind that is that tools are great, but most of us in alternative health come to it from the overarching philosophy that the body is self-healing and self-correcting. And the different aspects, the way I see it, the different aspects of whether it's chiropractic or it's acupuncture or it's naturopathy or Ayurvedic or whatever, they all come at it from a slightly different perspective. And it would be good to kind of include all of that in what we discuss and give people more of a well-rounded foundation in why we do what we do.
Yeah. So why don't you both act like I'm not here and continue that conversation so that people can get more of a sense without me butting in?
Well, I'll tag on to what Leslie said. The reality is, I totally agree with Leslie, because a lot of folks go to school, some type of formal training, and they walk out with lots of tools, right? Mm-hmm. But do they really know how to implement them into what we call the real world that we're out here experiencing, that clinician aspect of it? And when we really integrate and think of integrative medicine as a whole, integrate everything that's out there, we really hit those levels and layers of the patient, the client. And something I always teach is one thing doesn't fix one thing because we're not one thing. And I know Leslie can speak to that, right? I mean, you can crack a back and you're doing so much more than that. But when you layer on the emotional support, the nutritional support, like all of these other layers, all at once you have a new person that is drinking water and they're happy because everyone participated. Everyone helped them reach their goal. It's not just a one-sided goal.
Exactly. And when you look at things as a tool, on the other hand, then you get that very kind of segmented, divided and stratified specification that is really what has taken Western medicine in the direction that it's gone. So this is about making it broader and bringing it all together and setting a firmer foundation.
Absolutely. And I really believe, John, that everyone's going to truly love the philosophy aspect that we want to bring to this podcast, because instead of, just like Leslie said, being segmented, we're really about that integration, that integrative behavior where, alternative to one may not be an alternative to other. Complementary to one may not be a complementary to other. But when you can find what really resonates with the soul and then the space in which you're residing and hitting that end goal, when we can start pulling those pieces together for the patient/client, depending if you're licensed or not, when we can start doing that, we really can change the life of your client. And again, it's not a pill for an ill model. It's not even a functional medicine model where you look at a number and say you're deficient in XYZ and we give it to them. But it's a deeper understanding that if someone, I'll just go off on a tangent. If someone has parasites, we look at that and say parasites emotionally, parasites physically, parasites, why, where did they come from? Like there's so many layers to parasites. It's not just taking a bowel mover to kill parasites, black walnut, right? It's something more detailed than that. And Leslie, I know you can speak to it. If your thoracic isn't aligned and all the T's and the L's and all the spine isn't aligned, then where's it going to go, right? Those pathways aren't even communicating.
Exactly. And that's, that's that. And that's kind of where you get into the different philosophies. For example, chiropractic uses the spine as the inroad, if you will, to the nervous system, which it sees as the key to health and well-being. Whereas something like acupuncture uses more of the meridians and the energy medians and that kind of thing.
So, do you guys know anything about tequila therapy?
Just don't drink the worm. That in my youth.
Well, I got to tell you, I do. You could bring me on as a guest. I could talk about the healing properties of. It's actually more of a spiritual thing, actually, because whenever I have Herradura silver, it's like I always have a religious experience. But so yeah, it's fun. So here's the thing: is that what I'm really getting, because I kind of like, why don't you guys talk and see if it makes sense and you have a connection. And next thing you know, there's like this streams of emails and Trello board notices and all this stuff going on. And I'm really getting and totally okay with maybe you won't have a lot of guests on the show because you're both highly qualified. So it's like, what are you guys thinking in terms of how you're going to roll out yourselves?
Well, I think the guests are a great thing, but I don't think they could or may not be an integral component depending on how things fly.
Right. I mean, I look at the guests as really being an enhancement to a topic that we may be discussing. So let's say we're going to talk about sound therapy just in general as a philosophy and understanding sound therapy. So we may want to bring on a guest to expand on their genius on sound therapy. But I'm with Leslie that we're experienced in so many different venues, being able to really take those philosophies and giving you not just the tools, but the implementation ability. I mean, I know I said it at the beginning, and I know Leslie's experienced it too. Individuals, they get all this training or YouTube watching or whatever they do, but they don't have a clue what that really looks like in life. And so I see the guests as an enhancement or an extension of a topic we're discussing. If we want to drill down deeper and go to the expert just on that, deeper than what we're even going, normally. So I think it's a hybrid, a little bit of both. We have a lot to bring to the table, a lot of experiences. I've worked in shamanism. Myself, I've worked with over 5,000 clients and trained over 10,000 practitioners. So I've seen a lot. I love to share a lot, to sidestep a few painful points that someone else may not. And I know Leslie as well has truly been experienced in this field, being a DC for many, many years and beyond that. And so to answer your question, John, I'm with Leslie. I believe that they will add value and enhance what we're doing. But I'm with Leslie. I don't think we need a guest every week, every month, every whatever, pitching something. I really believe this is a really solidified, here's what we have. Let's start implementing it as a group, a collective.
Nice. So we have Leslie, who's a DC living in a CA.
That's right.
Right? So Leslie, where do you live?
I am on the central coast of California. I'm in a little community, Morro Bay, which is
beautiful,
part of the greater San Luis Obispo area. And most people may not even know where San Luis Obispo is. It's about distance between LA and San Francisco, but right on the coast.
In a very, very healthy place to live, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I've been there. It just seemed charming. I like charm after living on Orcas Island for 7 years. It's just charm. And now I'm living in Southern California trying to be charming. And it's like, I have to work on it. So Angie, how about you? Where are you living right now?
I am in the Midwest, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, very Midwest, very interesting as far as, folks are becoming more aware and more mindful of alternative and complementary. I mean, they're like really getting it, which is a beautiful thing. I spend a lot of time at our cabin on the lake because that is nature and that's where I do the best.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I've always thought that nature is a natural balance and healer. It's like if you're not feeling well, just go for a walk in the forest or go for a walk on the beach or just get out of the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's actually more and more proof that those kinds of things, there's more and more proof actually in body chemistry changes and brain changes that are now proving what we have intuitively always known about that.
And you must be familiar with earth walking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And hugging a tree really has a new meaning. Scientifically, we're showing a new meaning that there is something to that. I mean, you want to get into shamanism and you're really looking at the tree has chakras and it really has a breathing, a movement. So yes, earthing, earth walking, sunbathing, all the above, really connecting with earth is vital. And I believe that we are missing this big time. And we're seeing this in behaviors in our world right now with folks that can't get off their devices and have no idea what fresh air is.
Yeah, exactly. And a tree is never going to go, don't touch me. Right?
Exactly.
Stay 6 feet away.
Well, with all the fires in California, it's like, maybe they should be saying that. But,
right.
So, yeah. So what brought you each into the field that you're in? And I know it could be a long story, but, for me, I will tell you about podcasting. It's like I discovered it. And since I didn't at the time like writing, I thought, you mean I don't have to write a blog? I can do audio blogging? And that's how I got started.
Well, that was a lot more condensed and
I know Leslie's going.
and less meandering than my path was.
Yeah. Well, maybe do you want to cover that in a different episode? That's fine.
No, I can talk about it.
Okay, good. Let's.
I originally started out as a medical lab scientist. And when I was in my internship, that's basically a 4-year program that includes a year's internship. So when I was in my internship, the very last thing that I had to do in that program was that I had to assist at the bedside for a bone marrow biopsy. And when I walked into the room, this little old lady laying in the bed looked to my 22-year-old eyes like she was 110. And I don't know how old she was. That was just, where I was at that point. And they were doing this procedure to confirm leukemia. And a bone marrow biopsy is a horrendous procedure. They have to force a needle into the bone. And you can't anesthetize because once you get into the bone, there's no sense in anesthetizing because it's not going to matter anyway. And it's not a procedure that's long enough or dangerous enough to put somebody out for. So they just do it.
Invasive as hell.
Yeah, invasive as hell. And not only that, at the time, the standard of the day was that they were doing it on the sternum. So here's this man shoving this needle into this little old lady's chest. And blood-curdling screams that just sucked all the energy out of the room that I will never forget to this day. And he finally got done. He handed me the sample. I made the microscope slides and got the hell out of there as fast as I could. But the real change happened when I walked back into the lab and I handed the specimen to the senior tech and told her about it. And she looked at me with these sad eyes and she said, "But Leslie, they don't even treat leukemia in patients that old."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was like, can I swear on here, John?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? That's where I was. I didn't say that out loud, but that was odd. It was like, I realized in that split second that not only had I been part of that, which was intolerable to me, but that I was helpless in that position or any position that I could grow to from there to ever have any possibility of changing that paradigm.
Yep.
And so that's when I realized that I needed to be on the other side of the fence, helping people and keeping them from ever having to get into that damn hospital bed to begin with.
Yep.
Because once you get in there, all bets are off.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, it was done for their research.
Exactly. It was
Kind
done.
of
It was done To name
against the medical oath. Is that which is you know the medical oath, right?
Yeah, first do no harm.
Yeah.
It was done basically to name the disease. They had no intention on treating it. They didn't treat leukemia in patients that age. So why bother doing something, something so invasive that you're not even going to treat somebody for?
Man,
Makes
I'm sure
no sense.
That story is a fuel that will keep you living long past 150, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
seriously, that's intense.
Yeah.
Angie, what about you?
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Hard to follow up on, huh?
All righty then.
I got to follow up to that?
That was, I guess I was that woman, to be honest. And I was in corporate America. I started off in corporate America as in retail district manager, training manager, etc. Covered a lot of market, 14 to 21 stores. I mean, I was like rocking it, top of the game, and had had one child at the time and began my first autoimmune diagnosis. So in that 11th hour, when I literally thought I was dying, literally, and at that moment, I really would have preferred to die. I'm not even going to pretend. I begged God. I'm going to get teary-eyed talking about it. But I begged God and said, if you'll save me. I'd worked so hard to have my son, who was 1 at the time. I mean, pregnancy. I mean, it wasn't an easy pregnancy. I'll just leave it there. Some other day we'll talk about it. But so I beg God, if you will heal me and show me, and I will forever teach it, and I will forever show others. And that's really where I shifted in that 11th hour. And he brought me out of it. I learned about botanical medicine on the side, more of a side hustle, like what is this? And moved into more formal training. Ultimately, within just a few years, I started my first practice. And since then, I've seen over 5,000 clients. So I loved it. And then I realized that there was this gap in distance learning for practitioners. So we have this licensing, which is great, DC, DOs, MDs, you have this licensing, which has its own challenges, I know, but then you have this gap, right? This gap of individuals that truly are trained and really can deliver wellness plans at work. But there is no licensing, which isn't always bad, because again, we could talk a whole segment on the licensing piece, right?
I'm sure we will, or you will.
Leslie and I will, there's no doubt. And I just saw this gap. I saw this shallow training coming out of organizations that have been around for a while that didn't equip the practitioner. And so I said, the hell with this. You have someone's life in your hand. I know, I was one of them, right? I was repurposed. I repurposed my whole career. And so then I started an online training program that gave depth. And so I pulled together 21 practitioners, many of them licensed medical practitioners, to really shine their genius and teach the non-licensed distance learning practitioner how to truly develop wellness plans and make a difference in people's lives. And then that just evolved in, okay, the next gap. Nobody knows how to run a business. No one's an entrepreneur, right? I mean, we're here to heal people and help people. And so that has been, I say my latest, the last 2 years, this mission to truly help now that licensed or unlicensed practitioner. They don't teach it in med school either. I was just at a medical conference this weekend and we're talking about it, right? I was speaking there about it. No one's taught how to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. And so now it's like, let's fill the gap. Let's teach these individuals how to shine their genius and truly make a difference, even if it goes against the narrative. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I might have to listen to this podcast.
Might be a good thing, John.
Yeah. I usually, for every episode we produce, I usually listen to it at least 3 times, even if I don't edit it. I do. Because I love what we do. I really do. So yeah, to let everybody know, it's like Alternative Health Tools was started in 2014 with Lisa Thorpe from what was called then at the time the Thorpe Institute. And it was called Encinitas Health and Wellness. And then it was just like, nobody really knows where Encinitas is. So went through an evolutionary change and landed on alternative health tools when I had the inspiration and looked it up, and it was the URL was available. So we are in transition, and I've been very much aware since pandemic and everything else that we're no way is anybody going back to normal, even if they think they are. It's just not going to happen. And we all know that the e-learning market is expected to be a $325 billion market by the year 2025. So I mention all this because it would be my goal for us to be able to actually help as many people as possible and actually do some coursework and things like that. What would each of you like to have happen for yourselves regarding the alternative health tools? I mean, we experience, and what would be some of your goals?
Well, I can speak to my goals. One of my biggest goals is really to reach the natural health practitioner. And I say natural health, whether that's a licensed MD looking at a direct primary care role, or, because all this is shifting in the medical world too. I mean, this isn't just our world, it's everywhere. And really being able to hone in on the licensed and unlicensed practitioner to help them not only create rock and wellness plans that get to root cause, that are practical, realistic, and affordable, but also to be able to show each and every one of them how to implement tools, techniques, processes, systems to create income and not be broke healers. Right now, we need healers that know what they're doing and that are willing to stand up and truly take our world to the next level. And so my intention is that my voice, my knowledge, my wisdom is spread like confetti and really empower and equip and inspire these practitioners and the non-practitioner to find one of these practitioners, right? To find one of us that wants to integrate and not a pill for an ill, but truly have that integrative method and that model and understand you can earn money doing it. We should not be broke. So that's like my vision, my passion, my mission. And I really intend for us to have alternative health tools to ramp up to that level where the practitioner and non-practitioner, we all can work together, all disciplines of medicine. And it's not this segregated that Leslie was talking about earlier. It's not segmented. It's not segregated. It's not us versus them. We all have a place in medicine right now. We all have a place.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And also, I think in addition to that, for me, I also see a big place in us helping to inform the public at large, both about the quality of the work that is done in, I'm going to say, non-allopathic spheres rather than non-traditional spheres. Both about the quality of the work that's done and how broad it is and the things that can be addressed.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I want to kind of wrap this up a little bit, but before I do that, it's been really, really great. I'm pretty much turning the reins over to you and allowing our team of 7 here to actually do the rest to help you shine with this. And I'm really serious about this. But I want to make sure that everybody knows it'll be in the episode notes and stuff in terms of individually how to get in touch with you. But Leslie, don't you have something coming up soon?
Well, I actually have a 30-day wellness challenge that started yesterday, but people could still get in if they want.
Okay.
And I can leave the link. We can put the link in the show notes for that.
Okay.
But they could still jump in. Well,
okay.
Actually, by the time this broadcast, it'll probably be over.
Well, no, I might skip. I might do a skip-de-dee-loo here and put it out today. I said I might, but yeah. So, but generally, going to your website's the best way to find out what's going on, right?
My website is drlesliek.com.
Okay. Yep. Good.
Yeah.
Angie, what do you got going on? What's the best way to people get in touch with you or
We always have epicness going on because we never sit still. I can tell you that right now. But you can reach us at academyepic.com. We are about to shift, though nobody knows, but you guys that are hearing this, we're about to shift into a new name for our business to be more comprehensive of what we do. We're shifting into the Institute of Holistic Integrative Studies. And we have some partners that are partnering with us so that we can really integrate. And I know I've said it a million times. That should be the buzzword here on my behalf. Really, our medical professionals are under attack right now. I'm just going to say it. And I'm taking a stand with them shoulder to shoulder. And so you can find us at academyepic.com. It will forward once we get the new website up and rolling.
Yep.
And we offer a practitioner academy, business academy, our library, and our mentorship that's done monthly. So we are there to support. We're on a mission.
Yeah, you both are. I can tell. All right. I also want to let everybody know if you go to alternativehealthtools.com, there's a little blue button on the bottom right of every single page. And you can leave us an audio question or a comment, or just start thinking about 2022 and let us know what you like, what you don't like about what we're doing, and make a recommendation. What do you want to hear more of? I'm kind of at a place where with Angie and Leslie, I'm just going to listen, shut up and listen. That's kind of what I want more of.
We're ready. We're on fire, Leslie and I are. So hold on tight. We're ready to shift with the world that's shifting and really empower and equip. We're both ready. Very
That's
much
great.
so.
And Leslie, I have the links to your challenge. And Angie, I have the link to your website too. You want to leave it any particular way? The show is yours,
Well, I will tell you that if you're putting it out today, Saturday, we have an open house.
Okay.
And I can provide you with our Zoom link to sign up for that open house.
Shoot me an email with that. I'll stick it in the episode notes.
That's perfect. Awesome.
Yeah. Anything else, Leslie?
I think that's it for now, John.